Jason White. Do you believe that all family farms should go away and that they should all be taken over by large corporations? America was built on family farming, but small family farms are going away. We must save the American farms to make communities a better place to live. Small family farms are struggling to survive because of tax incentives and government legislation that favors corporate farming. Family farms are important in many ways, and, and government must take action or farming will be handled by a few large corporations, such as Cargill, Monsanto, and ConAgra. Big agribusiness and the federal government are to blame. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA, reports that 60% of farms have gross sales under $10,000 and that the expenses of farming are so high that people can no longer afford to do so. For example, a farm that makes $500,000 in gross with and sales might expect a 10 to 15% profit margin that would equate to a household income of $50,000, and that is before taxes for a family. Because farm production expenses for family farms have become so expensive, many small farms do not bring enough to cover the expenses for a small family and the living expenses to have a family. According to the 2007 census, tremendously in the average age of the farmers has increased from 54 in 1999 to 57 in 2007. There are many reasons for our government to help save small family farms. I'll list 3 examples: more productive and large corporate farms, more conserving of the land, and socially and economically important to communities. Small family farms are more productive than large corporate farms. The productivity of family farms is better than large family farms run by corporations. Smaller farms tend to use crop diversity and border cropping, which is better for the land. Large farms tend to grow the same crop in the same area year after year, and that is with using mass produce crops. This process does not use the land and water in an efficient way because of empty spaces, and that causes weeds. Smaller farms are efficient due to border cropping and crop diversity and crop rotation. Smaller farmers usually tend to mix crops in between rows because that helps the crops grow better each year. Larger farms usually have a greater total yield per crop. Smaller farms typically have a greater total yield per unit area. Smaller farms use crop diversity, which uses the land more efficiently, and the farmers tend to split up the crops each year by using something different each year in that same spot, by rotating the planted fields and pastures, which is more efficient and productive because of recycling. Part of crops cannot be used for foods for animals, and animal manure can be used as a fertilizer for crops. Small family farmers are more aware of the conservation of land and care more about preserving the land for future generations. Large farms run by conservations are not as efficient, and they tend to cause soil erosion. Small farmers typically farm because of their love for the land and just the enjoyment of farming. Employees of corporate farms typically will not feel the ties to their farm and tend to not care about protecting the land and environment. Therefore, this makes them more careless because they're not doing it just for the love, they're just doing it as a job. Weeds begin to grow on land farmed by large corporations because of empty spaces in the planting of crops. Then weeds are usually sprayed with herbicides. Large corporate farms produce emissions into the air, soil, and water supplies. Large farms that produce livestock have considerable amounts of untreated manure that releases gases into the air and into water sources. Family farms are important to communities and social and economic reasons. The local communities are boosted in economic ways from family farms. Family farmers usually purchase local supplies and use local banks for credit. Family farmers typically sell to their communities where they live rather than sending them to other places, like corporate farms. Small family farmers also provide job opportunities for local people in the area. More money spent locally for food, clothing, and entertainment by small family farmers. The local communities are boosted in social ways by family farms, and larger farms use chemicals that are not natural and are inhumane ways of treating livestock and genetically modify seeds for growing crops. EPA reports that about 80% of all corn grown in the U.S. were with seeds genetically modified by a man named Monsanto, decreasing crime because farming corporation creates fewer farms and higher crime. It's also just a better quality of life. Government action is necessary to save family farms. Government should protect the family farmers to enhance the American communities because family farms are more productive and conservative for the land. If we do not save the family farms, big corporations will eventually take control of all the food grown. We must have small family farms because they are more productive and more preserving for the land, and more important to communities for social and economic reasons. Government can increase trade barriers and provide safety nets of income for small farms. Communities need family farms and should encourage future generations to farm by recognizing the importance and rewards of farming. Please help save small family farms in America like mine, because my family is a small family farmer. My dad is a farmer. Thank you.